the Hollywood Unapologetic Podcast with Orlando Delbert, Filmmaking Essentials.
Today, we're looking at something pretty fascinating, actually.
Oh, yeah? What's on the agenda?
It's about how aspiring filmmakers, content creators, it's this whole new Hollywood generation,
Okay, I'm with
how they can actually get really valuable experience, learn some essential skills by getting involved in Fortnite's fan film contests.
using the Unreal editor for Fortnite, UAFN.
Right? Exactly, UAFN.
Yeah, we've gathered some interesting material on this. Got an article breaking down UAFN itself, some history on machinima and user-generated stuff.
Okay.
A Reddit thread talking games versus film, pieces on community engagement in gaming, a case study on a cinematic Fortnite thing called Moontopia,
Mootopia, nice.
insights on film festivals, virtual production. Quite a mix.
So our mission, if you will, is to figure out the real, tangible learning opportunities here for this new Hollywood generation looking to break in or, shake things up.
Let's do it. So first off, UAFN. For anyone not quite up to speed, this isn't just some simple map editor.
No, definitely not. It's basically Unreal Engine tools, the kind pros use, but right inside Fortnite. Super accessible.
Which is huge. It lowers that barrier to entry massively, doesn't it? You can just jump in, start playing with level layouts, putting enemies down, effects.
And for someone, say, in that new Hollywood generation wanting to direct or maybe do production design, how does messing with level layout in UAFN actually help? Does it translate?
Well, I think it does, yeah. Think about you're arranging elements in a digital space to guide the player, create a mood. It's not that different from blocking a scene on a set, is it?
That's a good point. You're thinking about sightlines, flow, how the environment tells part of the story.
Exactly. And you can import custom assets, too. So you're not stuck with just the standard Fortnite look. You can create your own unique visual style for your film.
Okay, so designing your own digital props or sets.
Precisely. That level of creative control. It reminds me a bit of the early machinima pioneers, They were wrestling with basic game engines to tell stories. UAFN is just light years ahead, tool-wise.
Right. Way more power. And speaking of telling stories, UAFN has a built-in video editor, doesn't it, for cutscenes and stuff?
It does. You can craft cutscenes, blend cinematics with animations, tweak camera angles, move characters around, add effects. It's pretty comprehensive.
So for an aspiring director or editor in this new Hollywood generation, this sounds like, a direct practice ground for fundamental skills.
Absolutely. Take that Moontopia example. It was built by a filmmaker using UAFN. They specifically wanted a cinematic vibe, tension, pacing.
They made the opening feel like a movie's beginning, right? Setting up the plot quickly.
Exactly. So how can our aspiring creators use those UAFN video tools to practice that, to experiment with pacing, with visual narrative, within their own fan films?
It seems like an amazing sandbox, honestly. You can try different cuts, different camera moves, like a slow push-in versus a fast cut, and see the impact instantly.
Instant feedback, almost like a digital film school environment.
Yeah. But filmmaking isn't just the craft, it's also the audience, right? And these contests, they potentially put your work in front of a huge number of people. Hundreds of millions of Fortnite players.
That scale is definitely something else. And, in gaming, community feedback is vital. It shapes development.
Right.
So for these fan films, the contests offer an immediate audience. You see the views, you get comments, what connects, what doesn't.
That kind of direct interaction, that's gold for an aspiring filmmaker. You don't always get that so quickly in traditional routes.
Not at all. And there's a mention of an online marketplace for UAFN content, too. Could that be another avenue for sharing work, getting feedback, beyond just the official contests?
Potentially. Like building a community around your creations.
Could be. It suggests an ecosystem for sharing, critique, maybe even collaboration, which mirrors, the networking side of the film industry.
Connecting with other creators, that's crucial for the new Hollywood generation, too, learning from peers.
Definitely. And this whole thing feels like a really accessible entry point into virtual production, too. That's a big buzzword in filmmaking now.
Yeah, blending live action with CGI in real time. Even though UAFN is a game engine, working with digital sets, real-time rendering, the principles seem related.
They are. And historically, machinima creators were doing a kind of rudimentary virtual production years ago, just within game limits. UAFN is just a much slicker platform for it.
So if someone learns to make cool cinematic stuff in UAFN, what specific virtual production basics might they be picking up that are actually useful later on bigger film projects?
Well, they're getting hands-on with digital environments, understanding virtual lighting, integrating different visual elements together in real time.
Yeah.
These are core concepts. The specific software might change later, but the foundational understanding is there.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, another big hurdle for the new Hollywood generation is building that portfolio, getting noticed. Film festivals are key for that traditionally.
Right.
Could these Fortnite contests act like a digital equivalent, a way to showcase talent?
I think that's a really apt comparison. Winning or even just creating a standout fan film, that's a concrete achievement. It's proof of skill.
Something you can point to.
Exactly. And who knows, success there might get you noticed by Epic Games or others looking for talent, comfortable in these new digital creation spaces. It's like a modern demo reel in a way.
Plus the community aspect you mentioned earlier, that built-in networking potential.
Yeah, connecting with other passionate creators.
Yeah.
That can lead anywhere. Collaborations, shared knowledge, building that essential peer network.
We also saw that Reddit discussion about games versus film and how some feel younger audiences lean towards interactive stuff.
Yeah, the ongoing debate.
How does UFN and making these potential interactive fan films help the new Hollywood generation navigate that changing landscape?
Well, it gives them a playground to experiment with that very shift. They can explore interactive storytelling. Can the viewer influence things? Branching paths.
Interesting.
UAM allows for that kind of experimentation. So they get direct experience with making entertainment that isn't just passive. They can start to figure out the potential there.
And fundamentally, these fan films are user-generated content, right?
UGC.
Absolutely. Pure UGC.
So what does participating teach the new Hollywood generation about the whole UGC phenomenon? Its power, how it works?
By doing it, they become part of that ecosystem. They see how their work lands, the engagement it gets, how their creativity fits into the bigger platform. It's practical insight into how content works in a user-driven world, which is, let's face it, increasingly important everywhere.
So pulling it all together,
Yeah.
it really sounds like for this new Hollywood generation, getting involved with UAFN and these Fortnite contests is way more than just a hobby.
Oh, absolutely. It's a multi-layered learning experience.
You get access to pro-level tools,
Yeah.
practice cinematic skills in an interactive space,
Yeah.
get exposure to a huge audience, get feedback,
Crucial.
dip your toes into virtual production,
A great starting point.
build a portfolio,
Yeah.
network, understand the games versus film evolution.
And get hands-on with UGC. Yeah,
It really is a surprisingly comprehensive training ground.
it really is.
So for everyone listening who sees themselves as part of this new Hollywood generation, passionate about what's next in film and content, this isn't just about playing Fortnite.
Not at all. It's about using these powerful tools, engaging with this massive community, honing your skills in a really unique, dynamic way,
It really makes you think.
which leads to, I guess, a kind of profound question for you. As these lines blur between watching and interacting, and as you learn to use platforms like UAFN, how will you be the one to innovate? How will you redefine cinematic storytelling to connect with audiences in totally new ways?
That is definitely something to chew on. A great question. We really encourage anyone interested to check out Fortnite's creative mode, maybe look into UAFN, perhaps even enter a contest. It sounds like an incredible practical learning opportunity.
Couldn't agree more.
You can find more insights on navigating the entertainment industry and achieving success in Orlando Delbert's work, including his book, Pollyanna's Tear-Soaked Battlefields of Hollywood, a survival guide against the cynicism and the hypocritical, and of course, the Hollywood Unapologetic platform. And always remember, you are the key to your own success. You are the new Hollywood generation.
Be informed, be prepared, and most importantly, be great.
That's it. Be great. Good luck out there.
See you next time.